at Clayton Studios in Studio 4 today, and I'm talking with Jim Singer, the Chief Instructor of VoiceOver St. Louis. Jim is a 45-year radio veteran here in St. Louis. And Jim, I was talking to Dick Hewlett yesterday about the course and what it pertains. Why don't you give us an inside look about what you teach the students?
Yeah, great. Thanks for the opportunity. And, one of the things that I love about the program, and I tell this to every student when we have our first introduction, is that it puts them in a realistic environment. We do actual commercials in the studios, and they're working in an environment that they're going to get used to in a professional manner. So they're working in a professional studio, so they'll get comfortable fairly quickly on working with copy and direction and so on in the very professional environment they'll be working with as a professional. So we love that about the program itself. When the student first comes in, or all the students that first come in, we like to find out what brought them there. And most of them will all say, I've been told I have a good voice. And that's great. And that is part of the reason people want to do this, because they've been told that all their life. But it becomes a lot more interesting when we go through the whole dichotomy of the course, because it's not just about having a good voice. Yes, voice is a nice start, but it's learning how to project, inflect, and use your voice in a way that's convincing to your listeners. And we teach that abundantly. And we have several methods that we do that with.
I was just going to ask you, how about some methods?
Okay, yeah, that's a great place to start. First of all, I've had people with unbelievable voice of God voices that didn't know how to animate their voice. And you can get away with that for certain spots where you can just rely on your deep voice. But if you don't learn to be a little more versatile with your voice, bend it, animate it, grab onto emotions, then there's really a big barrier. You have to convince the people on the other side of that microphone that what you're saying is real and you are the expert in that. And that comes from learning how to tap into the emotions that we all have. We've all had every possible emotion: anger, happiness, sadness, sincerity, straightforwardness. All those things are taught, and we help people learn to get into that mindset of what that spot's trying to do emotionally, because that's really where it starts. If you can convince somebody emotionally that you're the expert, they're going to believe you. And the way we do that is through several methods. First of all our copy that we give provides a unique experience in each one of the pieces of copy, from straight copy reads to comedic to animated to hard sell, soft sell, natural sounding, even corporate recordings. We go through the whole gambit. And I also invite and coach our students in trying different voices, because reading announcer style or character style is all part of this. There may be voices, in fact, that I've found from encouraging our students to try to find those other inner voices that they have, that different characters, that it adds a dimension that they didn't even know they had. And that comes down to being confident enough and vulnerable enough to be able to pull that off. And that's not easy to do in the beginning. So it's about making that microphone disappear and becoming one with the copy and delivering it in the way that makes it sound convincing. That means the people on the other side of the window disappear, and all there is the copy and you. The microphone's gone, and it's just you and your emotions delivering that message that is three things in one. And those three things in advertising and voiceover acting are selling, acting, and psychology. Psychology meaning that you have to convince yourself that what you're saying is real, and you mean it and you feel it.
You believe it, yeah.
And one of the ways I get people to understand how to get there is, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you're dead on the floor. to 10, I got to peel you off the ceiling, energy level wise. This can be applied to anything, but in particular with voice acting, where's your energy level need to be? Where's that copy telling you that energy level has to be? And so you decide by looking at the copy where that energy level is, and then it's not enough to just decide that. You've got to make yourself get there. If that means doing jumping jacks to get energetic, then we have them do that. Whatever it takes to get you to that energy level is the most important thing you can do, because if I don't have the right energy level, then I can't deliver sincerity or reality to anybody. I always say, if I came in as your instructor and I said, and I didn't look at you and I'd say, well, I'm real excited to have you here today, and we're going to teach you a lot about being real and sincere. Would you believe anything? You'd be asking for your money back. So think of this kind of acting as, let's say you go to a nice restaurant that your friends may like. You're not going to say, well, this restaurant was really good. You're going to say, man, this food was great. The atmosphere was great. The price was great. The food was amazing. Right. So you can't be afraid to be expressive. And at first, that's a little difficult. But because our classes are designed to get you behind the microphone multiple times, and then we have homework that we have them do. So there's a lot of time to get used to that. Anything brand new is scary. But what I try to remind our students is that driving was scary for you at one time in your life, but you were motivated to do it. It meant freedom. It meant, being able to go where you want when you wanted. But it didn't happen overnight just because you wanted it to. It happens because you're diligent and you continue to practice and you achieve the goals that you set.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the marketing? I know that the students get a demo, which is super important when you're trying to get work, but also they need to know what to do with that demo. And I know that that's something that comes with the course.
One of the things that I really like about this program, it's full featured. It doesn't just teach you how to inflect, where to inflect, how to read copy. It teaches you the business aspect of this, because ultimately that's your goal. As a voice actor, you want to go out and make money using your voice. Well, you have to convince people you're the right person for that job. That comes with learning how to market yourself. Confidence helps, and we help you build that confidence by knowledge. But once you have that, how do you get the word out there that you're available? Well, we teach them those things through social media marketing. LinkedIn's a great place to start. We teach them all about how to use that in that genre and how to make themselves known as an available talent. And a lot of the things that they learn in the class about how to inflect and project are put into that marketing plan. And one thing that makes a lot of people happy is that you don't necessarily have to walk into a place and introduce yourself and press flesh. You do that marketing now on the internet. And if you don't do it on the internet, you're invisible. You have to go to marketing where people are. And they are no longer in their offices. People are too busy.
Right.
And so we teach them not only how to do this, but we also tell them, look, when you're applying for a position, when you're auditioning, you have to remember that not everybody has time to call you back if you didn't get the job. So we teach them how to get a little more thick-skinned, because let's face it, nobody wants to hear no. But, when you're auditioning for a spot, two things have to happen. One, obviously, they've liked you enough to call you in for the audition, so feel good about that all by itself. Two, don't try to over or under deliver what you already do, because they've already liked you for who you are. Deliver the goods the way that they want you to deliver the goods. Don't be intimidated by it. Be yourself. I would suggest doing a couple of different versions and letting them choose which one they like better. If you get the job, they'll certainly call you back. If you don't get the job, please don't take it personal. It's not that you're not good at what you do. It's not that you didn't do a great job. It's just that, and I can say this as a former copywriter myself, when you write a piece of copy, there's this voice that comes alive in your head and you hear it. And what these auditions are trying to match up that voice in my head as a producer to the person that comes as close to that voice as possible. And if you're not it doesn't mean you didn't do a good job. It just means that somebody else came closer to their idea of what they wanted. And they get maybe 30 or 40 people that call them up or that are auditioning sometimes. They don't have time to call everybody back and say, no thanks, but thanks. Gotcha. So they're only going to call the people that got the job, not because they don't like you, but because they don't have time to call everybody.
You mentioned producers, so you actually expose the students to some producers? Or
one of the best things we do, yes. We have a producer that comes in and discusses what a producer's job is, what the role is, helps them understand how they interact with a producer as an actor, how they get attention of a producer, how often to contact a producer, what to expect in an audition. And a lot of the anxiety from brand new students is, what if I screw up? Well, first of all, guess what? Everybody screws up. The guys that have been doing it I've been doing it for 45 years. I screw up. Right. It's just part of it. In the digital world we have, that's not an issue. It doesn't matter how many takes. So we get their minds rested on that. But the producer will say, here's how I produce. And then once we're done getting the questions answered from the students, we actually have that producer take them through the process that I do and produce them themselves so they get a feel of somebody different, because every producer you ever will work with in this industry has their own unique personalities and ways of doing things. And because we're talking about art, and that's what this is, it becomes ambiguous what right is. So what one person might say, here, inflect here, another person might say, why are you inflecting that way? Don't do that. So you just have to learn to be flexible and be the vehicle by which this spot comes to life, and let the producer guide you. And these are things they learn in the producer class. And the thing that I want to add before we go is we're dedicated to this. We're not gonna lead you on. If you can't do it, and I don't want to sound negative, we're going to tell you. We're not going to just take your money. We're not here for that. We really have passion about what we do. We expect that the students that come here have the same. And that's why we say we're here for life for you. As long as I'm here, if you need help with anything. I got students that have called me or emailed me about projects they're working on that they have questions about, and I'm always available long after you've taken the course. So we are full-fledged. We are sincere in our approach, and it's a doable program for people that have an interest.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to put the numbers on the screen here, and just get a hold of Clayton Studios, and thanks again, Jim.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.